Alrighty, it looks like we're live. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here for Tier 2. Short qualifying just kicking off here at the Baku Street Circuit. I'm your host for the session, Fallen Monkeys, joined as usual by ISRL Estunik. How you doing today, Estunik?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm excited to get started here for the short qualifying session, and I think it's 26 laps around Baku Street Circuit, as we've already got some drivers hitting the track so far to kick things off. That's DMS Gexy first on track, and hopefully first driver to set a flying lap once the time comes, and it looks like he's setting his first lap on the medium tires. So already we're seeing a little bit of a stray away from the norm and what we're used to seeing with the soft tire strategy. And as Gexy takes us around the Baku Street Circuit for the first time here in Tier 2, what do you think we can expect to see in terms of strategy, in terms of battles, and just generally what we can expect out of this race here?
You can wing damage. Let's just say it.
Yeah, let's get that one out of the way early. Yeah, definitely with some wing damage, and I feel just keeping disciplined around the circuit is probably going to be everybody's key to success here around this track. Given that there's lots of close walls here, similar to what we see around Monaco and sort of like most street circuits. Where if you can stay clean, you're probably in for a good result, but at the same time, if you take some damage, especially at the beginning of the lap, you're in for a very tough time and a very long race.
Yeah, absolutely. You got your main overtaking zones down into turn 1. Obviously, we get the long straight coming out of turn 2 down into turn 3. It's a good overtaking opportunity. Generally, you're just going to see a lot of people just trying to get the opportunity to pass coming out of the end of sector 3, where you just nail this super long straight where we see all these incredible speeds. But yeah, not a lot. There's a tight track, and if you get caught out just a little bit, it's a day ruiner. But we're going to see a lot of mixed strategies too, because some people here are going to start to qualify on the softs, trying to get to the front as possible, and some people may stay in the back, maybe start on a harder tire. So you look for a mixed bag of strategies going into today's race.
Oh, definitely, and that's I'm happy you're mentioning the strategies, because I was going to touch upon that before qualifying was over. Now, personally, when I had this race in Tier 3, my strategy going into it was going to be a one-stop for the mediums to hards. Now, my thoughts there, as Gexy goes and sets a purple first sector, being the first driver to actually get a timed lap on the board, hopefully. But my thoughts were that the soft tires, personally, they only really lasted about 4 to 6 laps before really kind of becoming, I felt, very undrivable. And the hard tires, I kind of felt they only really went about maybe 18 to 20 laps, if I remember correctly. So it got a little bit tight trying to do a soft to hards, I found, as a one-stop. Now, unless there's a safety car, a two-stop, I feel, might not necessarily be the quickest strategy either. So I felt the mediums to hards was probably the best strategy for myself personally, but I'm curious to hear, of course, having a bit of a better finish as I did on that race, what your thoughts were in terms of the tire strategy going into the race.
Well, I can't say much about my qualifying, because I won't lie here. I was cowardly. I did not qualify. So I started the race on the hard tire. It was estimated to go about 20 laps, like you'd mentioned earlier. But as Gexy sets a 141.2, setting the bar. But as the first stint kind of went on for me, the hards, you could see immediately that hard to soft wasn't feasible. The track's very abrasive, and you're flat out. It's super flat, so you're using these tires. So maybe if I was being suggested it, Gexy pretty much parks it up in 3.
Yep, so Gexy sets a lap and parks it up there, and is he still, let's see if he's still continuing on.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going just very slow, so might have just completely missed his braking point. Yeah. Yep, but elsewhere on the track, I think we had just missed it. Yaron Visser in that AlphaTauri car, showing he's here to race, setting a 139.4 on the medium tires, no less. And that's good enough for a provisional pole position here at the Baku City Circuit. So a very strong time early on the medium tires too. So probably even some more hidden pace for Yaron Visser if he chooses to go out and set a time on the soft tires later on. But it looks as though. I was just going to say, it looks as though the medium tires is the tire choice, at least so far in this qualifying session, as all the times we have on the board, except for the time set by the Mercedes of Krishna. Krishna. I'm not. Oh my goodness. I'll call him Chris. I'll call him Chris, and I'll refer to the McLaren of ISRL Chris 85 as just Chris 85, just to make things a little bit easier for myself. But the Mercedes of Chris and the Red Bull of Irish Potato are the only two drivers so far who have set a time on the soft tires. But of course, as I say that, Chris's Mercedes teammate Cruz goes ahead and sets a 1:39.1 on the soft tires, which is good enough for a provisional pole here with a little under 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, I want to mention some of the new drivers.
Please.
Krishna, a friend of AJ Wuhan, suggested a reserve vouch for him. Also, we got the likes of Nip Steven, who's gotten his permanent seat here in Tier 2. Want to welcome back a familiar face, as everybody may remember A Sharp or ISRL Pretzels. He's going to be reserving here in the, I almost called it a Force India. I'm gonna struggle next season. I'll be calling it a Racing Point with an Aston Martin. He's in the Racing Point, and yeah, we got 19 drivers, so pretty much a full grid. Safety cars. What do you think we're going to be looking at here?
I'll be honest, if we don't see a safety car in the first, let's say the first 5 laps, I'll be a little surprised. To be completely honest, if Tier 3 is anything to show, and given the history of this Grand Prix, safety cars definitely come out in full force, and once we see one, there's a good chance we're going to see about 3 or 4 of them, because as we know, safety cars do breed safety cars, especially in this oh my goodness, sorry about that. Especially in this circuit, among all the other ones, given how tight the walls are. And we even saw in some of the other races that they'll send out a virtual safety car for just a little bit of minor wing damage too. So I'm thinking maybe just a side-by-side battle going wrong could actually be all it needs to bring out a full safety car and neutralize the race for a few laps. But this is where I guess strategy can come into a bit more of an effect. Knowing that there's a strong chance of the safety car and the virtual safety cars, where as much as in an ideal world I was saying a medium to hard strategy could go perfect, could work really well. If there's some safety cars that come out on track, this could actually throw a bit of a hammer into a lot of these strategies, given that under the safety car you can potentially get a quicker pit stop, given everyone's much slower on track. Which might actually open the door to potentially a 2-stop. Did you see something on track that I might have missed?
Oh, nope. I didn't have the stream up, and I was just trying to put it on and didn't realize my TV was at full volume. But Chris says in the chat that we have a cloudy but dry race.
Cloudy but dry race. Ooh.
A lot of the incidents that you see around the Baku Street Circuit is the fact that one driver, especially, like you said before, especially after a safety car, one driver will just make that slight mistake in a certain section of the track, won't mention any names, but that one driver messing up just a little bit, just getting that slowing down, is going to cause an instant Constantina effect, and you're going to see several drivers slamming into the back of each other. It's just the tightness and narrowness of the circuit creates the majority of the problems we see.
Oh yeah, of course. And just on that same note, with everybody bunched up, I was just gonna say as well, patience and the patience that the drivers need to show on track. Because of course, as it's easy for us to say in the commentators booth, going into the castle section, as we just saw Pretzels on stream go through, take it just about very nicely. It's not really much of a spot that we'll see going side by side in terms of overtakes. But at the same time, when you're out on track, when you are actually having driving the track and actually having the race yourself, it's a lot harder to keep that patience in mind, and you might attempt attempt to make a move where you might not see one normally, which could actually cause some incidents and bring up some safety cars as well. But we'll see what the Tier 2 drivers are gonna say about that once the race actually starts. Because at the same time, I'm not saying not to try and overtake, because we love to see the action in the commentator's booth with all the overtakes. Even more so when it's a crazy overtake somewhere where we won't necessarily see one all that often, as Pretzel sets a 140.3 in the on those medium tires, so not a bad time and good enough for provisional 5th starting position so far. Cruz's 139.1 is still the best time to beat so far.
His teammate can do.
Yeah, let's actually jump to him, and his teammate actually goes a provisional P2. So it looks like we have a Mercedes 1-2. Where have we seen that before? But looking very strong for them. Cohen, I thought he was on a lap, but decides to go into the pits, so aborting his lap. So still no time on the board.
I think Synchro's about to start his.
Yeah, looks like Synchro's going to start his. I'm riding with Chris 85 in that nice orange McLaren cars. He's looks like he's got a flying lap going so far on those soft tires. So let's stick with him for a little bit and see what he can do. His first time on Sector 1, no purple time, so maybe not the quickest on track, but of course I feel Sector 2 is a bit more of a make or break portion of the lap, given the yeah, and actually his teammate, I think that was Nathan JB, that maybe was helping him out, and yeah, maybe there was a bit of helping him out earlier in the lap, but could have potentially slowed him down a little bit there. Through that slower portion of Sector 2, trying to get out of the way. But we'll see once he finishes his lap how that'll actually affect things.
Yeah, I was talking about with the saw coming. AJ Wuhan was up behind the back of Mats, who was actually heading into the pit, but AJ Wuhan got a massive tow down the front straight from the pitting Red Bull, puts himself right into P1 with the 138.5.
Yeah, not just completely obliterating Cruz's time. So that was, I had just noticed that right as you were mentioning, right as you had just mentioned that. I missed the actual line cross, but a very solid time by AJ Wuhan's putting himself into provisional pole with about 5 minutes to go. Chris 85 setting a 140.1, good enough for 6th so far, so not a bad time from him this late in qualifying, and sets himself up in a pretty decent spot come the actual race. With a decent third row start if qualifying ended right now.
Yeah, it actually crossed the line, I believe.
It's like
Synchro?
Potentially. Let's see, maybe Synchro.
Nip Stevens.
Yeah, but Nip Stevens.
P2.
Yeah, so a 138.9, so 2 times now into the 138s. And we're starting to see, at least in terms of the fitted tire, we're starting to see the soft tires showing up more and more.
Synchro's in the wall.
Oh no!
Just lost the rear end.
Oh no, not what Synchro was hoping for. As I think he was trying to set a time on the medium tires. It looks like. Did he take any wing damage? Because I can't necessarily see it too much. Oh, massive wing. Oh, there we go. Yep. So actually, no front wing for Synchro. So that's going to be a long ways around the track. And like you were saying earlier, this is where keeping clean and keeping that wing in one piece is definitely going to be a make or break for a lot of these drivers. And Synchro's prime example of that, maybe not affecting as much in qualifying, but
Chris is giving a tow to Nathan down the bus right here.
Yep, we've got that on stream here, and we'll see how that'll affect Nathan's time as going down the very long back straight. And jumps him up into 12th. So it's a 140.6. So I'm sure the tow definitely helped out that he got from Chris, but maybe not a quick lap. Maybe losing some time somewhere else on track. Because I was thinking it was going to be a bit of a better lap from Nathan. Yeah. Just given at least given the pace Chris has had in that in the similar material, right? Yep. The machinery, I guess I should say, not the material.
But we got about 3 minutes left. We don't have. I'd say we got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars out on track. So
Yep, one of them
we
being
we
the
know Laporta has a qualifying man, so
yep,
can't be
so
seeing
he's going to
him.
be, yeah, so no time from him as he's going to be starting from the back of the grid. And hopefully he'll learn to be a little bit patient and not press that X button before the start of the race. But one of
One
those,
could hope.
yep, we can definitely hope so. But one of the drivers out on track looking to set a time because he doesn't have one on the board is the AlphaTauri of Cohen Ninjkamp on the soft tires, and with 2.5 minutes to go in qualifying, it's going to be a bit of a do or die lap for him now. Because I don't think he's going to have enough time to set another lap unless he sets it on these tires. As Irish Potato, he's done with his qualifying session, but he's been falling down the order. Now let's see what Cohen can do.
Nice.
As good enough for fourth, so pretty solid time from him, and that actually splits the Mercedes cars, who themselves are actually out on, let's see, Cruz is on a flying lap, and Chris is actually going out an out lap right now, so maybe a little bit of assistance for these drivers. Speaking of assistance, it looks like potentially Nip Stevens and Bumblebee might be helping each other out down this down that straight a little bit, as they're one behind another there. So we'll see if that'll actually potentially help. Well, Bumblebee's actually the lead car, so actually dragging Nip Steven around his out lap.
Yeah, he's on. Yeah, he's up
Where,
on his time, but
yeah, so we'll see. He's gonna have to improve on his time if he wants to start. If he wants a better starting position than 17th, or Bumblebee will. On the medium tires right now, and looks like he's on for a good lap as he just went through the castle section. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's jump to Mats quickly. Crosses the line up into 8th on those soft tires, so pretty good time, and down to the last minute now with qualifying, so even more so do or die, and that's Nathan, who retired from the session. I believe he did that in the pits. I got a little bit more excited than maybe I should have, because I actually saw the one of the racing points that was either Callis or Pretzels parked up, letting a driver through, and I got a little bit excited, thinking we would see our first DNF here of the session. But now let's actually see, as we see Nip Stevens flying down the track, maybe helping out for the start of his lap, as Bumblebee crosses the line, and doesn't look like he improves on his time. Let's Nip Stevens through, so we'll have to keep an eye on Nip Stevens as he sets a time. We've got the AlphaTauris helping each other down the back straight. That's Cohen, who's the lead car, bringing his teammate of Jeroen Visser, giving him a little bit of assistance for the start of his flying lap.
well played.
So that was a perfectly executed tow for the AlphaTauris, as Cohen does his job and ends his qualifying with a solid P4. So we'll see if Jeroen Visser can bring himself up there as well and get a solid start for the Racing Point cars. As we've hit the end of qualifying, we're seeing some retirings, we're seeing some drivers finishing it up. That's Chris, who's done qualifying, Synchro done qualifying, Laparta done qualifying, of course. Cruz happy with his provisional second, so he's ending qualifying. Let's see what AJ can do, as he's on a lap right now, it looks like, and we'll see if he can better his time. Still sitting on pole with that 138.5, and as he crosses the line, it's actually a 138.2 now, which is quicker than his previous time. Still sitting on provisional pole, and the eyes now are on Nip Steven and Jeroen Visser as they're coming to finish their laps, and potentially the last two drivers that are in contention for this possible pole. So let's see.
DRS.
Yeah, Nip Stevens. Backing out of it. So Nip Stevens finishing in third, and Chris going into the pits. Pretzels coming in fourth, so a 139.120 is a very, very solid time from Pretzels, and that's going to be a very good starting position for him.
Takes pole.
And, oh, you're on Visser. Look at that. So with a 138.1, so the slipstream at the start of the lap definitely helped him out, I would have to say, as he takes pole, and that's just a couple, maybe about, oh my goodness, 0.012 as the gap, if my math serves me right, between Yaron Visser and AJ Wuhan. So we might see some battling here around Baku Circuit for the race and for the lead nonetheless, which is, I'll be honest, what everybody wants to see here. Myself at the commentator's booth, well, I guess I can't speak for you, Sunik, but I figure everybody at home also wants to see some battle for the lead. But there we go. Qualifying over and done with. We have Yaron Visser bringing that AlphaTauri on pole right at the end when it mattered, with AJ coming in a very close second, but still starting from the front row of the grid. Cruz bringing that Mercedes up into third, so another strong qualifying from him, and Nip Stevens bringing that Renault up into fourth. Pretzels rounding out the top five. Cohen Ninjkamp in sixth, so strong qualifying for the AlphaTauris. The Mercedes of Kriskna in seventh, so very strong showing from the Mercedes again. Gexy coming in eighth, and I just missed 9 and 10 as I was taking a little bit too long to go through the order there. Mats and Callis on the ball, Stunik, as always. Thank you so much for that.
I got you. I have the stream up next to me so I can look over. It's a delay. It kind of helps.
Perfect, and there we go, as the drivers are going to be getting a little bit of a breather, a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of a break between qualifying and the race to get into the mindset. And I want to use this opportunity, everybody watching at home, if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button on the video. Maybe hit the subscribe button if you like. I don't know, maybe hit the bell while you're at it too, so you don't miss any uploads. And just by the way, who wants merch? We got merch.
We got it.
Yeah, we finally got some merch, and I have to say, having seen the merch, having worn the merch, super comfy, super high quality, fantastic. You can even get it customized with your favorite driver's number as Yaron Visser hits the ready up. And we're going to be starting to count down before the start of the race. So we should have links on our YouTube to our merch. It's ISRL merch. And like I said, get some and show some support for ISRL Esports while looking amazing out in the world and, I don't know, being comfy at the same time. But
absolutely. Your officer knows it. He's in the Discord saying, "Boys, I expletive. He messed up essentially.
Oh,
he wanted
all right.
to press square and hit X.
Oh no! Sometimes I guess it happens.
He knows.
Yeah, but he knows, and I'm sure potentially knows what's coming for him for next week. So already going to be a bit of a disadvantage, but showing he does have the pace given his qualifying here around Baku. So maybe just a bit of a hard mode race for him next race.
Absolutely. You want to run us through the order while we get the lap?
Yeah, let's run us through the order. So as we said, Yaron Visser starting from pole with AJ Wuhan starting right behind him in second. Cruz in third, Nip Stevens in fourth, as I mentioned, with Pretzels rounding out the top five. Cohen in sixth with Kriskna in seventh, so strong showing from him. Gexy in eighth, and Mats in ninth with that Red Bull car, and Callis rounding out the top 10. Then behind him we have Jordan as actually let's take a look at the I'm trying to get a few of this set up, but Jordan in 11th and Michael Furious in 12th, and we behind him we've got Chris in that McLaren car starting in 13th with Synchro behind him in 14th. Nathan JB 17th, starting in 15th with Vito starting from I guess we could just say his usual P16. Irish Potato starting behind him with that Red Bull in 17th, Bumblebee in 18th, and Laparta after his qualifying ban starting last on the grid in 19th in that Williams car. So, I'll say it right now just before we kick things off. Expect to see Laparta and expect to see ISRL Vito near the top of the order amongst other drivers here before the end of the race.
Absolutely. There's a tall order ahead of him, but it can be done. We've seen before as drivers like to start at the back, get more comfortable as the race goes on, take advantage of this mistake. So.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I'm sure we're definitely going to see at least a mistake here around Baku, but it is a bit more of a difficult track to overtake compared to some of the others we've seen. So we'll have to see if Laparta and Vito, along with everybody else in the back of the grid and even sitting in the midfield, are up to the challenge here. But now. as they're going to be lining back up on the grid to kick things off. One thing I noticed is that out of the top 10, only Callis is starting on those medium tires, so everybody else on the soft tires. So potentially a bit of a strategy advantage for Callis starting on those medium tires and starting in 10th. And
yeah, you only see New Potato and El Biku, the only ones starting on the hards too, so they're looking for a bit of a different strategy.
Yeah, so they're potentially going for a bit of an inverse strategy compared to everybody else. Jordan opting for the soft tires, and other than that, from about 13th all the way down to 19th, other than Irish Potato, starting on the medium tires. So a whole bunch of different strategies here to start the race, and we'll see who can get the better of who as the drivers have lined up, and we're awaiting the 5 red lights to kick things off here. Hearing the engines rev up. And there we go, up to 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights now, waiting, and they're off, and the drivers are off for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, leading into turn 1. Good start by AJ Wuhan, but Yaron Visser throwing his nose in there, and even Cruz starting from third, going 3 wide already. How is this going to end? There's a little bit of contact, and that's Nip Stevens going a little bit wide there. I saw, oh, that's a Red Bull. Is that Mats? Yeah, that's Mats. And there's a huge accident here as the whole bunch of contact, and that's going to bring out the safety car for good reason, as that's Matt's race over after all of 2.5 corners. Jordan taking heavy wing damage and is stuck all the way in the back of the order, so gonna have to pit. Let's see who else was affected by that. It looks like Jordan got the worst of it other than Matt's. But that was a bit of a crazy scenes here to kick things off, but through all of that, Cruz from starting in third, going 3 wide, just chucking it for the lead, and it works to his advantage as he's actually leading the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here after, well, I guess we could say half a lap, but realistically after 2.5 corners, I'd say.
Laporte is up to 9th from 19th on the grid. How is this man?
How did that happen? I think, honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I think Laparta was probably just in the right place at the right time through all of that incident with Mats and Jordan. No damage, and just finesses the. Oh my god, what a finesse drive for the first 2 corners as probably one of the quickest movers.
That was a good, like Vito. We're talking about him and Vito moving up the field. I mean, we said expected at the end, but I mean, Vito's gone up from 16 to 15, and that's because Matt's. And if I look at the ports, it just jumps the entire field. That's incredible.
But now the question is, under the safety car, who are we gonna see going into the pits? We've got Pretzels pitting. We've got Krishna pitting, Gexy going into the pits as well. We're probably going to see Jordan going into the pits, but is anybody else going to be pitting as well? Bumblebee going into the pits, and
might see Jordan going. He had a bit of a damage.
No, Jordan had no front wings, so he's definitely going to be going into the pits. I was just curious if anybody else. So it looks like Pretzels maybe got caught up into a incident. Krishna as well, Gexy and Bumblebee, I'm all going to assume got caught up into these incidents, but opting for different strategies here as showing Jordan in the lead of the race after that blistering 2-minute and 40-second lap. But I'm looking at the tire choice. Pretzels choosing to put on another pair of soft tires, so he's definitely gonna have to make at least one more pit stop here on the race. Krishna going for a bit of a longer strategy, opting for the medium tires, and same with Gexy. I still feel they're gonna have to pit again, but they might be able to do a soft, medium to soft. And Bumblebee potentially looking to go to the end of the race now, choosing the hard tires. And Jordan looking for the medium tires as well. So I'm thinking probably another pit stop from most of these drivers, unless they've really got the tire wear to manage.
I don't think a hard tire from lap 2 to the end of the race. That's not possible.
No, might be tough, but who knows? I mean, who knows? It could be. We've seen crazier things in the past, but Yeah, I do think 24 laps on the hard tires could be very sketchy and very worrisome. Considering in my experience, they start falling off after about lap 20 to 21, I believe.
Oh, well, we'll see. I mean, some drivers are just Lewis Hamilton-esque when it comes to tire wear we've seen before throughout the season. So,
Oh yeah, and
yeah.
some of them just have the better setup for it, where they got a setup that takes into account the tire wear.
If you look at if you look at it now with the pit stops that just happened, we're on lap 2. Laporta is sixth, starting 19th. It's wow, 13 spots.
Yeah, so already, Laparta definitely the biggest mover, up 13 spots in 3 laps, including a lap under the safety car. So definitely a strong start from him, and showing that qualifying ban, I guess, doesn't really make too much of a difference. Um, so that's a strong showing, and we'll see what he can do on the medium tires as well. So already he can show he can go a little bit longer than some of the other drivers in front of him. And even then, I know I mentioned it before, but a very good start from Cruz as well,
I just want to
starting from
mention that.
third.
Yeah,
And
it was 3 wide.
yeah, yeah, and like honestly, like I saw the 3 wide, and I was expecting there to be an incident. Just I thought it was going to be an incident between the top 3.
Yeah, I don't. 3 into that's it. Fair play to them. I mean, it worked.
Like
None of
all,
them came
oh
away with
yeah.
anything, so the problem was behind him. But that could have easily have gone the exact opposite direction of what
Oh
he did.
yeah, like that could have been all 3 drivers' races over just like that. Um, uh, Very early into the race, because already it's hard enough going 3 wide around just any circuit, even more so around Baku City circuit, where it's much tighter around the corners, as it normally tends to be on a Formula One track. But obviously they made it work, and I guess it just goes to show the skill level that these drivers have, being able to,
Absolutely.
well, firstly handle a 3 wide situation, and to be able to make it out without anybody being negatively affected out of it, other than just a loss of a position or two. As there we go, we see the notice in the bottom left. The safety
Oh,
car
this is
is
one of the
coming
problems
in
you have
this
to
lap.
watch.
Yep, now let's keep an eye out to see, keep an eye on the, and already, as
See?
we're gonna say, those watching at home, if you're new to the stream, keep an eye on the bottom left for possible penalties, as we'll see them pop up there, as drivers are bunching up, as Cruz becomes the de facto safety car, and we're seeing everybody bunching up, just waiting for Cruz to make the first move to kick things off, and oh my goodness. Everybody's so close. This is just carnage waiting to happen, as it looks as though finally we've got the restart, as Cruz has got a good restart, but AJ looking to make an overtake very early on your own Vasseur. Are we going to see 3 wide? No, we're not going to see 3 wide, as they got very close. It's still Cruz in the lead, your own Vasseur in second, AJ in third, and Cohen in fourth, as it looks like everybody is getting through fairly cleanly. From what I can see, just trying to keep an eye on the back of the grid. Yep, everyone being a little bit more cautious this time around. I saw Laparta falling down to 7th, as there was a little bit of contact there between Nip Stevens and seeing some front wing flying off of somebody's car. I think that was actually Laparta's losing a bit of an end plate on his front wing, as maybe not. No, Laparta still has his front wing, so somebody lost a front wing somewhere along the way. Maybe that was, nope, not AJ. I'm not too sure, but it's still Cruz in the lead. Johan Vasseur in second, and AJ in third, as, why do I have the fastest lap? I want the gap to the leader here, as, what's going on here? Oh, and there's some contact here, and that's Synchro trying to fit.
No.
Synchro was trying to fit, looked like 2 into 1 going into the castle section. And that did not work out for him at all, as he falls all the way down to 18th, and that'll actually bring out the virtual safety car.
There's so much debris. It's just end plates upon end plates, just laying a strewn in the castle section. Get used to that.
Yep, there we go. So the castle section we saw took our first victim, and from what I could see on the stream, it looked as though, it didn't look as though, oh my goodness, I actually don't even know what I was trying to get with that. So,
Christina in the other Mercedes, quite the opposite of what's going on with his teammate who's leading the pack, but he has severe end plate damage.
yep,
so...
as we're going back to green now, as we're seeing Cohen going into the pits, Michael Fear is going into the pits, and probably Krishna going in. Sorry, what'd you say?
I almost said Austin, his name. Pretzel's also with wing damage, pits again, second pit stop for the Racing Point and the Mercedes.
Yeah, so not the race they were hoping for going into the Grand Prix, but still, it's only lap 5. There's still 21 laps to go here in the race, so loads of time for a recovery drive. And around Baku City Circuit, as we've seen, anything can happen. So, you know, no reason to give up just yet here on lap 5, as we're seeing a yellow flag in Sector 1. What's going on here? Is that... that's El Biku. Yes, the Haas car of Michael Fures going a little bit too deep into turn 2 and having to take a little bit of time and correct himself and get back on track. So we've got a nice little battle here between Nathan, Irish Potato, and Vito. Look at Vito already up into 9th now and looking to make some progress once again. As we had a nice little 3-car battle going through the castle section. Right behind them, we've got Chris and Gexy. Gexy trying to make a move down the inside. What happened to Chris there? As Chris actually ghosted a little bit too. I'm not seeing any AI looking at Jordan's on board right behind him now. But a little bit of an interesting situation there as Gexy's up into 10th. Chris fell down into 9th, and did he take some damage?
No. Chris somehow miraculously doesn't obtain any damage from what it looked like to be a massive tank slapper.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And so we're seeing Nip, Steven, and Callis going into the pits now. So Laparkta up into 4th. So now we're seeing a Williams 3-4 here so far. But it's still Cruz leading the way, followed fairly close behind by your own Visser and AJ Wuhan trying to keep up with the both of them. But other than that, it's a nice little gap to 4th to Laparkta, along with the rest of the grid behind them. Now I'm just going to jump down the order here as Pretzel's very close to Krishna. Both of them having to take a pit stop, and I see Pretzel's on the hard tires. I don't need the interval change anymore, so let's take a look at actually the... No. There we go. So let's take a look and see. So Krishna on the soft tires, so potentially a bit of an advantage for the Mercedes driver there, as... he's got a bit more grip, and we're starting to see the gap grow just a little bit more. So we get a very nice view looking back at the leaders there of the track, as well as Baku City, as far as the game is concerned.
Yeah, what can you say about Cruz lately? All of a sudden, it was just a switch flicked on since the incident in Silverstone. He's absolutely cranked it up these past few races. We saw him win last week.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy you're bringing it up, because I know we've said before that speaking of Cruz, he actually goes into the pits, but we have said it before that we know Cruz has the pace and has the has the ability to compete. It's just a matter of the consistency with more often than not, I found, as he always seems, the consistency and the luck, because he always seemed to get caught up in some incidents that, to be honest, were nothing really much of his own doing personally, but he was just caught up in them. But now it seems he's been doing a good job of keeping clean, doing his own race as best as he can, and all of a sudden it's paying dividends for him, as we're seeing him. Yep, opting for the mediums, so might be a little bit close bringing those to the end of the race. But with the skill Cruz has, I wouldn't be surprised if he is actually able to bring those tires to the end.
I'm seeing Chris all jump around on. I'm riding on board with Cruz right now.
Yeah, so, well, that's the thing. So maybe Chris has a little bit of connection issues, at least as far as the stream is concerned, and might be the reason why we saw that little bit of a tank slapper, even though he came out with no damage whatsoever about a lap ago now. But we'll see if Cruz is able to make the overtake here. Well, let's actually give the onboard as, oh no, definitely looks like Chris is having some connection issues ahead of Cruz. Now actually looking at AJ Wuhan going down the inside of Bumblebee, not really an overtake spot you see all that often, but AJ making it work, and Bumblebee on those hard tires falling down to 10th, which is still a points paying position, but not what he was hoping for. But for some, I guess he's got his teammate behind him of Nip Stevens, so something, at least for some comfort, I guess, if you're Bumblebee. But now
really need the undercut to work here.
Yeah, so let's see what Cruz was just a little bit too far behind Chris to get the overtake to work, and now he's actually coming out right beside, side by side with your own Visser, who's going to get the better of it, and it looks like your own Visser was actually able to make that work for the overcut on the hard tires, and comes out just ahead of Cruz. But actually overtakes Chris 85 as well in the process. So your own Visser coming ahead of Cruz and able to make the overtake. Now Jordan making an overtake on AJ Wuhan, but AJ Wuhan making a very nice switchback move and overtaking him right back. We've got Cruz and Chris going side by side, just a little bit more ahead. Chris looks like he made a bit of contact with the wall. I don't think he took some damage, but that was actually all Cruz needed to get the overtake done and solidify that P6. And start catching up once again to your own Visser on those hard tires to take that 5th spot back from him.
Yeah, look at the leader.
Yep, and there we go. Laparta starting from the back of the grid, and 8 laps later finding himself up in the lead. His teammate AJ Wuhan about the same spot. He made an overtake last lap. Looks like he overtakes Chris 85 to go up into 7th. So all 3 of the original leaders, we could say, having made their pit stops and already working their way back up the order, and even potentially battling amongst themselves. Now, Chris, I feel, is starting to see a little bit of a pace decrease now on his car, because even Jordan on the hard tires is really closing up very quickly. I want to keep an eye on this overtake, but Cruz actually overtook your own Visser, as we're seeing them going side by side. Chris and Jordan through turn 1, and it looks like Jordan gets the better of Chris on that instance, as Jordan up into 8th. Cruz overtook your own Visser down that start-finish straight, it looks like, going into turn 1, turn 2 with the help of DRS. Pretzel sets the fastest lap on the, oh my goodness, where is Pretzel's actually? On the hard tires, no less, so he's flying around the circuit after his pit stop. But yeah. Yeah, so we have Laparta in the lead for the time being. Irish Potato in 2nd on the hard tires, with Nathan JB in 3rd. And as you said, Gexy coming in 4th. But right behind Gexy, we have Cruz, your own Visser, and AJ Wuhan all putting pressure on the oh my goodness, on the Alfa Romeo driver there, looking to work their way back up. So let's actually keep an eye on this little battle as we see it, to see who's gonna make the first move. It might actually be Cruz down the start-finish straight, I would think, if he can get the exit that he's looking for.
I'm not sure Cruz can make it to the end on these medium tires. He's definitely gonna have to stop again, but Bjorn Visser has put himself in a position where he went soft to hard. It's not an ideal strategy, as we discussed in qualifying, but you could see
it's manageable. Well, that's the thing. Yes. The soft to hard isn't. It's not ideal, but it's definitely manageable. So I think Cruz is potentially hoping for maybe a safety car, as we're just watching Cruz looking to make a move down the inside of Gexy. Gexy gets some nice traction around the outside. And actually, it looked like from the angle, Johan Visser tried to go around the outside as well, but Cruz able to keep the pace. But we're still seeing Gexy and Cruz going side by side, with Johan Visser trying to find his own way around. But Cruz finally made the overtake, and Johan Visser says thank you very much, and overtakes Gexy as well. shortly after. So Gexy losing out on 2 spots to the likes of Cruz and Yaron Visser, who are continuing their way up the order, and AJ is also going to have to get a bit of a move on if he wants to keep. And actually, that's Michael Furious who DNFs into the pit lane, it looks like. So 10 laps in, that's I guess he's not happy with the way his race is going, and will get an early start on preparation for next week's race. So we're seeing
side-by-side action with Gexy and Cruz in 1 and 2 was beautifully done. It's an example. The laundry is done. That's a beautiful example on how to race each other here in the league. So much space given, what respect given by each driver to one another. It's ideally what you look for.
Oh, it's definitely what you want to see. Now, I'm looking on stream here as we have AJ Wuhan trying to do everything he can to get past Gexy. Lots of swerving around, but finally gets the nose on the inside of the car. And we'll see in this drag race down the start-finish straight, Yaron Visser coming in and going into the pits and maybe affecting that battle a little bit. But now it looks like AJ is able to solidify that P5. Gexy falls down into 6th as Yaron Visser opting to pit off of those hard tires and going on to the medium tires after only spending 2 laps. Oh, he took some wing damage. That's what it is.
That's unfortunate. Like we just mentioned, he was set to pretty much take it to the end with, like you said, manageable tire wear. But now this is just completely throwing a monkey wrench into whatever strategy he was thinking about running.
Well, that's the thing, and now at this point, it's really Cruz's race to lose, I would think, as other than the top 3 who are in a bit of an alternate strategy compared to everybody else, Cruz, I think, is still in that net P1, and
I don't know, because he's definitely got a pit again, and a guy like Laporta, who's been out front pretty much the past.
But Laporta, but the top 3, Well, that's the thing. He can go right to hards, but maybe that's up to Cruz with the medium tires. Of even if he needs to pit again, Cruz can still pit on the softs, and depending on depending on what happens in terms of the 2-letter vehicles that supposedly make things safe. But unless barring one of those, Cruz should be able to have the pace to grow a gap to make an extra pit stop. Maybe not affect as much as it would if he was elsewhere down the track. Already we saw an overtake on Nathan as Laparta, he goes into the pits, so we're probably going to see Cruz overtake Laparta into the pits. But that's Irish Potato on the hard tires, taking the lead of the race. And actually, he's set himself up into a very solid spot, going for a hard to soft reverse strategy to everybody else.
Laporte's onto the hard. He's definitely good to make it to the end here with only, 14 laps remaining.
Yep, definitely. Hard to the end. And so as long as he can keep it clean, he's in for a very good finish. Now I'm looking at Callis here, a little bit behind Laparta. I thought it looked like he was a little bit closer than what he is on screen to Jordan, as I thought we were going to see a move with the help of DRS, but that's not the case, as Jordan was just a little bit too far ahead this time around, so we might see that a little bit later. But looking at this battle here for second, we still have Cruz in second, who overtook Nathan earlier on, and Nathan doing all he can on the medium tires to keep AJ Wuhan's Williams behind him, as they're all 3 of them going through the castle section, and AJ doing all he can to try to get the overtake, and Cruz finally starting to build at least a tiny little bit of a gap, over a second now. So might just be out of DRS range from Nathan, which
Wuhan's gotta get by him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Time is starting to run out if AJ wants to keep up with Cruz. But Nathan doing a good job of keeping these drivers behind him. But we'll see now on this long start-finish back straight here what AJ can do. Callis overtook Jordan elsewhere on track in this hard tire battle. Now, if I'm going to jump back to this battle for the last podium, let's take a look. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2. That's Nip Stevens retiring. AJ gets the move done, and it's just in time before the VSC, as Nathan potentially, AJ Wuhan potentially sweating a little bit more than he would like, as he's finally able to make that move. around Nathan, I think it was. So it's Irish and Potato in first, Cruz in second, AJ in third. As we have a virtual safety car for Nip Stevens, where I'll be honest, I was too busy watching that overtake. I didn't quite get to see what happened with Nip Stevens. Did you see that on your end?
I did not. It seemed like it was on the exit of the castle section around 11 and 12. Did not catch it because, like you, I was looking at that battle. So.
Okay, so we might need to. So unfortunately, we didn't quite get neither one of us on stream was able to catch the incident. So I'm not too sure what happened. So maybe somebody in the chat could enlighten us with that. But we're back to racing now, back to green flag conditions, as it was seemingly a very short safety car. As looking down the grid, we've got Cohen on the medium tires, very close to Synchro, as they're going through Sector 1, end of Sector 1, start of Sector 2, and Cohen, after pitting for the medium tires and having to replace his wing, he's going to be trying to work a bit of a gauntlet back up the order now, but his first step is to overtake Synchro. Are we going to see a daring move? No, we're not. So being a little bit patient now, but we can see practically pushing Synchro around these corners. But just buying his time before the overtake, I think at this point. But let's see, we've got Leparc catching up to Gexy at a rate of knots, and look at that, throwing his car down the inside and gets a very easy overtake for fourth. So now we've got the Williams 3-4, so another strong showing from them, with the Cruz still in second and Irish Potato out in the lead.
AJ Wuhan is throwing everything just to get to the back of Cruz here.
Oh yeah, now they're both on the medium tires. So looking at this strategy, I'm gonna say, at least for the time being, advantage Cruz. Just given they're both on similar tires, as we just saw Nathan overtake Bumblebee. Pretzel's right behind, doing a very similar move on Vito. So Vito actually, he's been very quiet. We haven't spoken too much about him here this race, but in a I guess I could say a lowly P11, which, considering he started closer to around, I think it was 16th, 17th. Still a very strong finish, but just not what we're used to seeing from the likes of ISRL Vito, as normally we'll see him competing for the lead of the race around this time.
Well, honestly, at the end of the day, you gotta look at the points, and he's still bringing home points with a huge lead in the championship. So, but then again, there is still 12 laps left, and we've seen Baku can throw anything your way.
Yeah, so, well, that's the thing. So I guess time will tell, and like you said, still 10 laps to go, so anything can happen. Speaking of anything can happen, can AJ Wuhan make the overtake on Cruz down the start-finish straight? Cruz defends the inside, so AJ trying down the outside, but realized that that wasn't going to happen. So Parks is Williams behind the Mercedes of Cruz once again. And has to look at that Ineos for at least another few corners, but he's going to try it down the inside this time around, as they're both going side by side, going into turn 3. Are we going to see them going too wide? Yes, they are, just briefly, but Cruz getting slightly better traction, as he's able to hold on to that second, that P2. AJ still in third, and Nathan with those soft tires, doing some work, it looks like, back up into 7th. But honestly, I don't think Nathan's going to go to the end of the race on those soft tires. There's still 11 laps to go.
Here's the thing you got to also think about. The fact that Irish New Potato has to pit. He is absolutely not pitted. And he could have taken advantage of that VSC and just ducked in, but I don't think the timing was quite right.
No,
now,
I think he was...
Cruz and AJ Wuhan battling each other, those tires making it to the end are now questionable, and Leparc sitting there able to go to the end, only 6 seconds behind them. So here we go. I'm gonna fix that right now.
Alrighty, yeah. So as Asunik was saying, I haven't spoken too much about him personally, but yeah, as you mentioned, Laparta on only 2-lap-old hard tires, so definitely looking like he can go to the end. Now I'm going to jump to this this battle here as AJ is trying once again, as they're quite literally side by side, and it looks as though the overtake has finally happened for AJ. But we'll see for how long, as Cruz takes a bit of a better racing line through the corner. It looks like. Elsewhere on track, Gexy going into the pits, so Callis gets a very easy 5th. But now it's still Irish Potato leading the way in that Red Bull car, with now AJ Wuhan in 2nd and Cruz in 3rd. And actually we're seeing Gexy and Bumblebee going into the pits. So a bit of movement now here with about 10 laps to go. As 2 drivers going into the pits, and we might see a few more pitting before the end of the race, I would think.
AJ Wuhan has like little to no ERS left from that battle, so
yeah, so potentially Cruz in a bit of an advantage there, depending on his ERS levels. I don't quite have them open on stream, at least for now. Here, let's actually take a quick look. If I take a look at this, okay, yeah, so Cruz definitely has some ERS. AJ not too much, but using everything he can to try to build a bit of a gap to Cruz to not potentially lose out on that spot here by the end of the lap. But looking else, yeah, ooh, just as I was about to mention. Yeah, not a section we've seen overtake happen too often, but already that's maybe the 3rd or 4th overtake we've seen this race alone in that little the end section of Sector 2 there. So it looks like it's a bit of a the popular spot for overtakes here for Tier 2. So that's your own Visser, bringing his AlphaTauri back up into 7th. So far it looked like a good points paying position for him. But still 9 laps to go now, so just has to manage to keep it clean. Now, AJ Wuhan, as much as we were indicating he's used up a lot of his ERS, he's done a fairly good job of creating at least a little bit of a gap to Cruz in 3rd. Still under a 2nd, but not right up behind one another, as we're seeing elsewhere on track. Pretzel's opting to pit for the medium tires to go to the end of the race, but also having to get a bit of a wing change there as well, so losing out on even more time in his pit stop.
We see Vito now ahead of Gexy. Oh.
Yeah, but Gexy actually, I think he went into the pits, so that was a bit of a easier overtake from Vito. As he's up into 9th, but still just having his own race here with 9 laps to go. Slowly but surely working his way back up the order. But all eyes seem to still be on this battle for 2nd between AJ Wuhan and Cruz 9K, that are very close to one another, less than a 2nd separating them. With this wild card of Irish Potato still having to pit. Is he gonna come in this lap? No, he's not. Irish Potato stays out for at least one more lap. Now let's see. AJ Wuhan and Cruz probably gonna have to pit as well. Is that no? Maybe a little bit of mind games from AJ, as I thought he was gonna pit, but choosing to stay out for at least one more lap.
Out of the gas and everything.
Yeah, so I think honestly, in this battle for 2nd and 3rd, I figure they're playing a game of chicken of who's gonna bite first. Now, looking elsewhere on track down the start-finish straight, we have Vito overtaking Jordan. So Vito finally able to get past that the Alfa Romeo car of ISRL Jordan up into 8th, and it's going to try to close up that near 4-second gap to your own Visser. And see if we can maybe see a battle for P7 before the end of the race now.
AJ Wuhan's starting to grow that gap now.
Yeah, now the other big question too is we know AJ and Cruz, they're probably going to be pitting once the other pits, but do you think I guess AJ won in this case, do you think they might be looking ahead at Irish Potato to see when he pits as well, to maybe match the pit stop with him, or sort of gauge when could be a good time depending on what he does, given his implications now with the win? Or do you think if you're AJ and Cruz, you're just sticking to your own races and looking to defend off each other?
I don't know. They're in kind of a no man's land now, because if you're gonna pit, this is the lap to do it. Take advantage of those softs.
Yeah, but actually, speaking of pit, the leader opts to go into the pits. AJ is staying out, and so is Cruz for that matter. So we're going to have a new leader in AJ Wuhan of the race. Irish Potato choosing the soft tires as we expected, doing the reverse strategy and actually falling down into 4th. And potentially even losing out on that 4th spot to Callis. Yes, just barely. So already with that huge gap that Irish Potato had, he came out of the pits in 5th.
Now you're going to start to see Cruz push, knowing what's at stake.
Yep, so very quickly, Irish Potato up into 4th, overtaking Callis. But now this might open some questions for AJ and Cruz, because there's still 7 laps to go. But the gap maybe not as big as they once thought it might be, in terms of where they would come out after taking an extra pit stop. So they might have been hoping that they could come out in potentially, you know, without losing too many spots, but obviously that's not the case. So they might.
Surprisingly, it's been a pretty clean race, you know. Not a lot of incidents. I mean, we had the one incident I feel like made up.
Yeah, very early on, but we kind of expected, and I kind of expected an incident turn 1, regardless of the tier here around Baku. That's just the nature of the circuit. But after the initial hiccup of lap 1, the first few turns, as we tend to see, everyone just kind of settled down, did their own race, and kept things very clean.
Here comes New Potato.
Yep, look at the pace he's got. Oh, no, look at the pace he has on those soft tires.
It's got to be a fastest.
Now let's see. Oh, Cruz pit. Cruz actually went into the pits here on lap 20. Yep, so he's putting the soft tires on, and actually, he's got to change his wing too. So falling all the way down the order in 7th now, and potentially going to fall down to 8th as Vito's going to overtake him, and we might see Jordan overtake him as well. That's not what Cruz wanted, I don't think at all, as he's all the way down into 9th now coming out of the pits, and really has a lot of work cut out for him with 6 laps to go. Now Pretzels overtakes Cohen for 12th on track down the start-finish straight as well, so very good use of ERS for Pretzels there, as working his way back up the order. Cruz makes very quick work of Jordan on his drive back up the order with those soft tires, but still has a 3-second gap to close up to Vito.
Yeah, let's see how much New Potato can chip away at AJ Wuhan's lead, because he has got those tires dialed in already. He's already taken 0.8 of a second out of AJ Wuhan.
Oh yeah, so all eyes now. As I said, that could have been my fault too a little bit. I'm sorry, Cruz. I didn't mean to do anything. But I thought it was Cruz's race to lose. But now, given the pit stop, given the wing damage, I might have to pull that statement back. But we'll see. Still 6 laps to go. Anything can happen, as I've said before. Looking at the gaps, yeah, Irish Potato already
in the pit.
Oh, AJ pitting. So what's going to happen to AJ? Irish Potato goes back into the lead of the race. Laparta in 2nd now, as they can both go to the end. Callis up into 3rd. Now let's see where AJ comes out without the need of a wing switch. Nathan going into the pits as well, so that's probably going to be Vito overtaking Nathan, and there comes Cruz. And AJ in 5th, so able to slot himself in front of Vito. So AJ down into 5th, but still now it's Irish Potato in the lead, and barring some crazy events in the last 5 laps, looking pretty good here after that hard to soft strategy. and the only driver, it seemed, really giving that strategy a try.
Laparta started 19th.
Oh no, and Bumble. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, but looked like it was either Bumblebee and Pretzels, I think, that might have having a bit of a battle. Bumblebee misses his braking point into turn 3, as I know I've done so many times, and takes a little bit of a wing damage tax for it.
We see Callis closing on Laporta too for second, but either way you look at it, for New Potato and Laporta, like you said, 19th for the Williams, and I believe it was 17th for the Red Bull. So
yeah, so very strong races from them. And it almost goes to show, even your strategy that you tried out in Tier 3 of, maybe not qualifying might actually not be all that bad of a strat around Baku. As we're seeing Cruz with the soft tires making very quick work of Vito. So those watching at home, enjoy it while we have, because it's not every day we see ISRL Vito being overtaken by another driver. Normally it's the other way around, of course. But that's Cruz back up into 6th, and now has an 8-second gap to close up to AJ Wuhan, who AJ himself is stuck right behind your own Visser. And as I say that, they're going side by side through the end of Sector 1. Your own Visser still able to hold on to the lead for the time being, but once they come out of the tree, who's going to have the advantage? It is still your own Visser in 4th, with AJ in 5th. As let's give the onboard going through the castle section here. Not much of an overtaking spot, but we can see just how close the drivers get to one another through that castle section, and we're probably going to see AJ get that overtake done down that start-finish straight.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. Oh, excuse me, I apologize.
No worries.
Yeah.
But let's actually stick with them, as we're going to watch them go down this start-finish straight in just a moment. The gap only 3/10.
Seeing Callis go for P2. I don't think he's quite there.
No, I don't think so. And oh my goodness, look at how close they got. And your own Visser leaving just enough room for AJ. They got very close there. But AJ able to overtake your own Visser up into 4th. With your own Visser falling down into 5th, but with another DRS section coming up very soon, we'll see if your own Visser is going to take bring the fight back to AJ. And no, it looks like with those soft tires, AJ just had the better traction. As we're actually seeing Gexy overtaking Jordan, as Jordan on 19-lap-old hard tires. So bringing those tires basically right up to the limit as they can.
And right on board with Jordan, you look backwards, you can see the grading on those rear tires. Oh Lord, I've yet to see that so far in this game. The rears on that car are absolutely spent.
All right then. Okay. That's fine. Let's try to get the looking behind, but it wasn't quite working too well. Now, looking at the gap stuff, Callis as close as ever, keeping the pressure on Laparta for P2. As Chris with 3 laps to go retires in the pit lane, so not necessarily happy with his showing, and with 3 laps to go, he as well deciding he's going to get an early start on next week's race. But that's good news for the drivers who are still up and running, because now, so as long as you finish the race, every driver who finishes is guaranteed some points now in the standings. As Callis trying to go down the outside of Laparta, gets the better traction, almost textbook. And that's Callis up into 2nd here with about 2-3 laps to go. But still, nobody catching up to Irish Potato, who's very comfortably in the lead of this race.
Yeah, AJ Wuhan's closing the gap up to his teammates, so he might actually still be on for a podium.
Yep, already the gap is closing, and look at, I mean, even the 2.2 seconds between Yaron Vasseur and AJ Wuhan, so they're keeping close, and Cruz, very quietly, has been able to bring that gap down from 8.2 to about 5.6. But I think, unfortunately for Cruz, with that wing damage, it might have just been, might just be too little too late. Because I think that 5-second gap might be a little bit too much to close in 2 laps time, save for an extremely big, I guess, bus stop slowdown, which, well, actually, as I'm saying that, we might actually see as Bumblebee retired from the session as well. So down to 14 runners now, as I'm not too sure what happened to Bumblebee. I didn't even quite get to see what happened where he was. Yep, it just up and disappeared. So potentially another retirement in the pit lane, or at least I hope. As now,
on top of each other.
Yeah, down to 14 drivers. As AJ Wuhan able to overtake Laparta with that soft tires. Doing it fairly easily with the extra grip he has, so a little bit of a position switch for the Williams team there, as now AJ is going to try his luck on Callis for that P2.
Yeah, he's in prime position for it. Callis is on those old hards, as we know, so not a bad result for AJ. He would have wanted more. Same with Cruz. They would have absolutely wanted more, especially with that battle at the beginning with Jorn Vasseur. But P2, still a positive result that you can take into next week.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's it's definitely a lot of points to bring home for the team and the constructors. Lots good chunk of points for the drivers' championship as well. For those respective battles, and even then, that's some confidence that you can use going into the next week, like you said, and use that to try to string maybe another good result for next week's race.
Yeah, so you got to think that AJ Wuhan can get the move done here before turn 1.
Oh yeah, you definitely think down the start-finish straight with the amount of room and the amount of space they have. But looking at this now, everyone is just they're all so close to one another here between second and we can even count Yaron Vasseur's AlphaTauri in there as well. But let's see, down the start-finish straight, will AJ have the speed to make the overtake? It looked like going much faster than Callis there on the onboard, and look at that. Long before the straight is AJ Wuhan up into second, and very easily makes work of Callis to go up into second. So Callis down into third, and is now going to have to probably watch out behind him for Laparta, who was very close for the most part up until AJ put his car into the mix. But Laparta's actually going to have to watch out for Yaron Vasseur, because if he's not careful, Yaron Vasseur can very easily take that 4th position away from Laparta.
Yeah, very easily. It's one of those moves that we might see heading in. We're on the last lap of the race right now.
Oh, well, look at that. Yeah, I thought we were on the penultimate lap. I guess I completely miscounted a lap, but on the last lap of the race, and almost about halfway through the last lap of the race now, is our leader.
This Jorn's all over the back of that Williams.
Oh yeah, and this is the battle I'm watching probably until they cross the start-finish line to finish the race. As will Yaron Vasseur have enough to get the overtake done on Laparta? Now let's actually turn on the telemetry for this to see what everyone's got working with. ERS just about the same for both drivers, so this might come down to DRS, I would think. As here we go, going down the start-finish straight. We'll see him cross the line on the minimap in just a moment. It is your provisional race winner, Irish Newt Potato for the Red Bull. Congratulations to him on winning the Tier 2 Grand Prix. And we'll see for P2, it is AJ. And Yaron Vasseur does get the overtake done, as we saw on stream. Callis in 3rd, Yaron Vasseur in 4th, and Laparta rounding out the top 5. Cruz, after a very strong drive, maybe not the result he was hoping for, but still a very strong P6. And Vito, after taking those hard tires 19 laps to the end, coming home in P7 with Nathan JB bringing that McLaren into 8th. And Pretzels, after seemingly a few pit stops, able to salvage a solid P9, and Gexy rounding out the top 10.
Jordan comes across the line 11th, and I do not know how he managed to bring those tires.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Jordan crossed the line in 11th, and looking at like you mentioned, after 23 laps on those hard tires, I'm surprised he crossed the line, period, with those tires. But Cohen coming in 12th, and Krishna coming in 13th for the oh my goodness, in that Mercedes car. We saw he had the pace, but maybe just struggled a little bit around Baku City Circuit, getting caught up in some incidents. So not the finish he was hoping for. And Synchro rounding out the last of the finishing drivers, as we're seeing him coming down the start-finish straight now, but still finishing in a decent P14, so that's still points for him at the end of the race. And there we go, an extra point for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, I believe. So making it count, and there we go. Irish Potato getting driver of the day, and after the starting position he had, I do have to agree between him and Laporta, given the race they both had.
Absolutely, that was one hell of a drive from the Red Bull driver, coming from way back.
Yep, and honestly, that was, it seemed as though that was just a matter of strategy for Irish Potato. I wasn't really thinking too much about it at the time when he started the race, but going the reverse strategy to everybody else, going hards to softs, that was a strong decision, and that really worked out for him. And there we go, starting from 17th on the grid, up into the up for the win is Irish Potato. Congratulations to him, with AJ and Callis rounding out P2 and P3 for the podium. As I'm just going through the order here to show everybody at home where everybody finished here. Not as many penalties as I thought there would be, to be completely honest. But there's still a few there. But some strong drives from a lot of drivers. Like we said, Irish Potato 17th to the win, Laparta 19th to 5th, Vito 16th to 7th, and even Nathan JB 15 to 8th. So strong drives from him, and Pretzels making 3 pit stops and still coming into the top 10 as well.
Yep, seemingly making it all work. Trying to get the guys in here, but
yeah, we'll see if we can get
made the party chance work.
Yeah, they've with this new update, they've made things a little bit harder in terms of post-race interviews. But we'll see if we can get anybody in, because definitely lots of talking points, I would think, after that race.
Oh, absolutely.
But what I feel Tier 2 has shown, and I think Tier 3 as well, is that honestly, you can probably make any strategy work around this circuit. Because we've seen, I thought a soft to hard was going to be a strategy to go to, or even the mediums to hards, but apparently the hard softs was the ideal strategy with Tier 2. Even after the after the safety cars, after the VSCs, after everything taken into account, it was still just the inverse one stop that was the way to go here in this race.
Absolutely, just
yep. Now let's actually just show off that winning car quickly here in the showroom, just as we're awaiting the interviews.
Irish. Yeah, I've gotten one out to Callis, and AJ was just trying to find Irish New Potato, because apparently he hasn't been online in 27 weeks.
Oh boy.
Hello.
Hello, AJ. I saw you joined us. Can you hear us all right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well, Perfect. Well, I gotta say, congratulations on the finish. Congratulations on the race. How are you feeling after oh my goodness, after those 26 laps of Baku City Circuit?
Well, pretty happy. Happy with the result. Had some good races with Cruz and Joe and Visser. So, well done to them and well done to Irish Meat Potato. Mad race from him. Yeah, did really
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and that's the yeah. Because when I'm looking at, I believe you and Cruz were stuck in a bit of a battle for quite a few laps there near the end of the race for I think it was second. I think it was for P2 if I remember right. Now,
Yeah.
were you thinking going into this, since you saw the battle, like, oh no, I'm gonna have to pit again? Did you take account that into your strategy when you originally put on the medium tires, or was that just a bit of I guess a winged decision, just given the tire wear after the battling?
My instinct was that I was always going to have to pit again. And I thought if I hold out for one more lap, because I think lap 20 was my intended pit stop lap, but I thought, there might be a safety car, so I'm going to wait out for one more lap. Because I saw Nude Potato pit on lap 19, I think, and I think the two
Yeah.
laps on mediums just allowed him to catch up way too quick and just gave him the dub. So well done, mate.
A lot of strategies that we saw, it's just different strategies implicated. Unfortunately, I feel like for the guys at the start, at the front, you guys went 3 wide into turn 2.
Oh, yep.
It worked. It didn't work so much behind you, but it worked.
Yeah.
You guys, I don't know, you guys just absolutely went for it on lap 1 just to really someone had to get out in front, and it was Cruz, but unfortunately Cruz had wing damage, and during the pit stop cycle you were able to just get back to where you started, and Cruz never quite got back there.
Yeah, unlucky for him. But yeah, it was an interesting turn too, that's for sure. Because I think I had the better start over Joe and Visser, and then Cruz just suddenly had a better line through turn 1 and just got a better exit and managed to catch up to us. And I had flashbacks from another league race that I did, where I got caught into some turn 2 incident and lost my wing. So I just thought I'd back off a little bit and let the two of them fight ahead. But then the safety car came on, that kind of ruined any plans I had, really. So, yeah.
I just want to mention, congrats on the podium again, but
Thank you.
beautiful racing by everybody today. It was very clean. It was good to watch.
Yep, congratulations. Now, do we have anybody else here for the interviews? I wasn't actually paying attention. Sorry?
We have the man who had the perfect strategy. Where did you start, New Potato? Was that P16 you started from?
I've got P17 on the grid here.
You absolutely nailed it.
Yep, now I have to...
Word at any moment? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just curious. Was that going hard to soft? Was that the strategy you had made up your mind on right from the get-go, or was that just based on where you qualified and figured, well, let's just try this and see what happens? Okay, yeah, so it's a bit more of a wing strategy then come the start of the race, given your starting position. I mean, it worked out for you at the end of the day. Yeah, definitely.
You absolutely nailed it. You definitely got to be considered for driver of the week with a drive like that. Not only starting from the back, but taking the win in dominating fashion. Because as soon as that you got out there, it wasn't even a question. It was just whether or not it stayed clean. And if we had a safety car, that might have thrown a wrench into it. But you seemed pretty confident in your pace that you could just keep going. Well, congrats on the win. That was an amazing drive. That's one you certainly should remember for a while because you earned that one. That was a well-driven race, man.
Yep, solid drive. Congratulations. Now, did we get Callison here as well, or?
We did not.
We did not already, so I think in that case we'll probably end the stream here. So to everybody watching at home, and I guess everybody in general, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I hope you all enjoyed the race as much as we did here in the commentators booth. And make sure to tune in same place, but in about half hour's time for the main event for the Tier 1 race here around Baku City Circuit. But until then, I've been Fallen Monkeys, joined by ISRL Esports. Thank you for watching, and until next week, have a great rest of your day.
We'll see.